Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into a world that's it's defined by deep black programs, by secrecy,
Right.
and technology that, well, according to our sources, just shouldn't exist on this planet. We're looking at UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena, through the eyes of former government officials.
And that's really the key thing for this deep dive, isn't it?
Mhm.
Our source material, it's all built around this documentary, The Age of Disclosure.
Right.
And the thing is, it didn't interview, hobbyists or armchair theorists. It was exclusively people with direct government-related knowledge, high security clearances.
So our mission today is to basically give you a shortcut, a way to get informed on this whole thing.
Yeah, a way in.
We need to unpack the really shocking claims, the true cost, the sheer scale of this program.
And why now? Why are these high-ranking people breaking their silence?
Exactly. And what do they believe this non-human tech means for our future, especially, with this whole geopolitical race against China?
It's a huge topic. I mean, where do we even begin? I think maybe with the scale of it all. The deception.
Absolutely. Because when this comes up, people always say, oh, they're covering it up so the public won't panic.
The classic answer.
But what our sources kept saying again and again is that the motive today, it has almost nothing to do with protecting us. It's about protecting them.
The people who kept this secret.
For 80 years.
And that is the dark foundation of this whole thing. Let's just try to grasp the sides of what they call the deeply hidden legacy program.
Okay.
The sources, and we're talking about people who handle the budgets, say this effort has spent at least over $1 trillion.
$1 trillion?
In unsupervised funds.
Yeah.
Since the 1940s. This is a massive parallel government operation. Thousands of people full-time.
That number is it's almost impossible to comprehend,
Right.
Especially with zero congressional oversight. So is the cover-up really just about avoiding, a massive financial scandal?
It's a huge part of it. The legal jeopardy is the thing that's paralyzing everyone right now.
So it's not just embarrassment.
No. You're talking about clear felonies. Lying to Congress, misappropriation of funds, procurement fraud on a scale you can't even imagine. If this comes out, dozens of very powerful people could see their lives ruined.
Which means the people who know the most have the least reason to talk. But the sources also said some of that money just disappeared.
Yeah, they said it went in the pockets of people that probably shouldn't have got it. So, corruption is baked right in.
And what about the idea that you can't keep a secret this big?
The intelligence people just laugh at that. They say, look, operational security is very, very real. People can keep secrets when they're threatened with, not just jail, but having their reputation, their family, everything destroyed, or worse.
This whole hidden history, it kind of always goes back to the late 80s, right? To Bob Lazar.
He was the first one, really, the original whistleblower. Claimed he worked at Area 51, that they had recovered craft.
And that they were trying to reverse engineer the propulsion system using element 115.
Right, and that element 115 claim is so important.
Yeah.
Because he said their version was stable, and when you hit it with protons, it created a gravity wave. It bent space and time.
The first hint that this wasn't about jet engines, it was about bending physics itself.
Which sets the stage for all these recent confirmations. Because it's not just one guy anymore.
No.
That's what they call the credibility multiplier.
Mm-hmm.
The documentary sourced 34 people, all different backgrounds, different politics, didn't know each other.
And they were all saying the same thing?
Exactly the same thing.
Yes,
It blows the whole idea of a coordinated misinformation campaign out of the water.
And some of this testimony is coming from the very top. I mean, we have to talk about Senator Marco Rubio.
Rubio's statements were, honestly, they were chilling. He said his biggest fear is that the U.S. is losing a Cold War race with China to reverse engineer this tech.
I remember the quote.
He said, we're going to wake up one day, we're going to find out the hard way that China got there. And then he said, to quote him, we will be screwed.
When a senator says that, it completely changes the conversation. It's not about little green men anymore.
It's about strategic military competition. And then you have Jim Clapper, former director of national intelligence.
What did he confirm?
On the record, he said UAP activity over Area 51 is absolutely real. And more importantly, that the Air Force has had an ongoing program to investigate it.
Which directly contradicts their public story for decades.
For decades. And get this, he did his interview while his wife was in the hospital. He told the interviewer that getting this information out was that important to him.
Wow. And the urgency isn't just about the technology, is it? It's about biology.
Yes. Jay Stratton, the guy who ran the UAP task force, He claims he has seen non-human craft and non-human beings with his own eyes.
And what do they look like?
Multiple witnesses, who don't know each other, describe them as looking very similar to the beings depicted in Close Encounters.
The classic grays.
But there was also this incredible claim about a contact event at Holloman Air Force Base. Two craft approached, one landed, and beings walked out.
Walked out and did what?
Interacted with Air Force and CIA officials. They were described as tall, slender, humanoid. So we're not just talking about artifacts. We're talking about interactions.
Which brings us to the biggest question of all. How does any of this work? I mean, the physics involved. It seems impossible.
It does. I mean, to really get it, you have to look at the documented sightings. Like the one at Vandenberg Air Force Base.
What happened there?
An Air Force security guard and 5 of his colleagues saw a UAP the size of a football field, just hovering
A football field.
over the launch facility.
Yeah.
They just shot off at thousands of miles an hour, and there are official police reports on this.
And you connect that to the energy needed for something like the Tic Tac incident. It's not aviation, it's like magic.
The scientists calculated that for the Tic Tac to move from sea level to 80,000 feet and back, for hours,
With no fuel, no exhaust.
it would need the energy equivalent to the electrical output of the entire United States for a week or more. How do you even begin to approach a problem like that?
You can't with our current science.
You have to throw out conventional physics, which is what the senior government scientists, guys like Hal Puthoff and Eric Davis, did. They came up with this unifying theory.
The warp bubble.
Exactly. The idea is the craft isn't moving through space-time. It's warping space-time in a little bubble right around itself.
So the environment around it doesn't matter. Air, space, water.
It's irrelevant.
Yeah.
You get frictionless transmedium travel. No inertia, no splash when it enters the water. Nothing.
And that explains all the weird stuff.
It explains everything. Why they look blurry in photos? You're shooting through bent space. Why radar has trouble tracking them? The waves go around the bubble.
It even explains the bigger on the inside thing people report.
Right, because space itself is being warped. A 40-foot craft can seem like a football field inside because perception is literally being altered.
This is the key to interstellar travel.
Or teleportation. But, like Rubio said, the fear is that bad actors will weaponize it first.
And what would that even look like?
His big fear is that if China figures this out first, they could use a transmedium craft to deliver a nuclear weapon anywhere in the world, instantly.
Through the ocean, through the air.
Completely undetectable by any system we have.
Yeah.
It would be the end of strategic deterrence as we know it.
Okay, now we have to shift to something even more radical. The sources claim not all of these recovered craft were accidents.
This is one of the most shocking claims in the whole thing. That elements of U.S. military intelligence actually
Yeah.
cause crashes on purpose, starting back in the 1950s.
But how? How could they possibly down a craft that advanced?
They noticed the UAPs were sensitive to huge energy releases, specifically nuclear weapons tests,
the bomb tests.
high-altitude tests,
Tests.
yeah. They created some kind of ripple effect that could knock these things out of the sky. One source literally called it shooting fish in a barrel.
That is insane. So they were harvesting the technology.
Later on, the UAP task force refined it. They realized the UAPs were drawn to nuclear material.
Yes.
So they'd lure them in with nuclear aircraft carriers, that sort of thing, and collect data.
It's a fundamental game changer. The crashes weren't luck, they were induced. Which brings us to the secrecy. Why is it so hard to get this out in the open now?
Well, there's just no incentive for the people in these legacy programs to talk. They are terrified of being prosecuted.
For lying to Congress, misappropriating funds.
All of it. The sources, and Rubio too, say the only way to get the truth is mass amnesty. You have to offer them immunity.
And the personal risk is real. The filmmakers said 2 people refused to be interviewed because they said it would be forfeiting my life.
Yeah, and you have to remember, the government has used psychological operations for decades to keep this quiet.
The tinfoil hat stigma.
Exactly. Sources allege the CIA basically invented that in the 50s and 60s. It was a psyop to ridicule anyone who got close. They even sent actual tinfoil hats to witnesses at a Top Gun base to intimidate them.
That's incredible. And all this secrecy has a very real human cost. People have gotten sick.
Seriously sick. A lot of personnel who've had close encounters have developed severe cancers, autoimmune issues. They think it's related to radiation or some kind of energy exposure.
And some of them are getting special medical status for it, right?
Yes, Anonymous Health Injury Status, or AHI. That designation used to be just for Havana Syndrome victims.
The directed energy weapon attacks.
Right. So the fact that they're using it here implies they know these people were exposed to something similar. One DoD official was apparently zapped by a UAP over his house. Investigators found etching in his windows from the energy beam.
That is terrifying. But among all the fear, there's also this other side to it, this idea that these encounters could unlock something in us.
The positive potential. It's the most fascinating counterpoint. An intelligence official said he was with a dying non-human being from a recovery,
Yeah.
and he heard thoughts in his head. A clear message. You humans don't know your full potential. It suggests our consciousness is as limited as our physics.
And there's this overlap with psychic abilities, remote viewing.
Yes. There's a story about a high-ranking official who gained profound remote viewing skills after brain surgery that he needed following a childhood UAP encounter. Like, the exposure fundamentally rewired him.
So where does that leave us? We have this dilemma. The military-industrial complex, just like Eisenhower warned us about, is in a secret race for this tech.
A race for supremacy. But the technology itself could revolutionize humanity. It could solve energy, travel, everything.
So what's the final step? According to the sources, it's not another drip of data.
No, it has to be a sitting president, stepping up to a microphone and just saying it.
Saying what?
Humanity is not alone in the universe. We have recovered technology of non-human origin. There's a high-stakes, secret Cold War race to reverse engineer this technology.
That would change the world overnight.
Completely rewrite history.
And we'll leave you with one final provocative thought. It ties this all back to, well, to ancient history. Documents related to one of the recovered craft, allegedly Roswell, mentioned that it had hieroglyphics on it, ancient writing.
Like Egyptian hieroglyphics?
No, that's the thing. The specialized teams couldn't match it to any known ancient text on Earth. The only thing they could compare it to was, and this is a quote, some old biblical text.
Wow. So that's... It begs the question, what is the true origin of these beings?
Oh.
Are they from another planet, another dimension, or somewhere else entirely?
And what message, written in a language that looks almost human, were they trying to leave behind for us to find?
Something to think about for sure. The scale of the secrets hiding right in front of us.